Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. Today's topic is going to be deep. And it's going to be a little bit sad. So you have been warned. But today's topic is about suicide among men. This is not excluding the women at all by any means necessary. But I had to talk about this. Because in this world where we are always talking about leveling up, going to the next level, which I do believe in. I do believe in that. Having, a better looking car, having a good woman on your side, right? Making more money, establishing another business, etc., etc. The go, go, go of the man. I had to talk about the internal battle that the man goes through. And one thing that comes to mind is I was listening to a sermon by Pastor David Wilkerson. He calls it the private war of a saint. And it's these private wars that we're all facing. These private wars that we're facing that nobody sees. Nobody sees it. Nobody sees it coming. Nobody's paying attention to the signs. Nobody understands when that person doesn't want to talk in a group setting, it's not because they're afraid. It's simply because they don't have words. They could be going through something deep. AKA, they could be going through a private war. But yet again, this is the world that we live in, unfortunately, where a lot of people just don't pay attention. And I'm not here to condemn. I'm not here to judge. I just know that many people are unfortunately miseducated. And it's sad to be miseducated. It's very sad to be that. Because when you're miseducated, you talk too much. You don't talk at all. Or you're afraid of your own voice. But when it comes to suicide, I've been really paying attention for the past couple years on how a lot of men have gotten to this. And it goes back to the private war. Pastor David Wilkerson's son was dealing with suicidal tendencies. He was dealing with a lot of mental health issues. He was going through a private war inside of his head that he couldn't even explain it to his own father. He was telling him, I can only imagine, son, what you're going through. And he tells him, no, Dad, you can't imagine what I'm going through. And that's true. And I think that's the worst thing that we say to people. When people are saying things like, I'm feeling depressed today, I'm tired, or this just isn't my day, or they're just not, contributing anything to a group discussion, or they're at the party by themselves, or, they want to be alone a little bit more, or they're isolating themselves from other people. Or when they just say, you know what, I just don't feel like myself. And then somebody says, well, you just have to pray more. I disagree with that. I disagree with that way of talking. I disagree with that way of talking. That's not the way we're supposed to talk to people. We are supposed to sit down here and say something along the lines of, well, why don't we sit down here and talk about it? We don't just say, don't worry about it. Just pray more. Oh, it's just a part of life, or just, you just need to suck it up and be a man. And that's sad, because this is the kind of treatment that a lot of men get, and this is not the kind of treatment that a lot of women get. In our society, we ignore men. In our society, we tell men to be tough, to be brave, to not cry, to not show any emotion. And then when they don't do these things, they are categorized as being too emotional. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I will give a disclaimer. I do believe that a man should be a man, but in this sense, he has to understand Our society right now does not really care about men. They just don't. With that being said, he has to understand as a man, in order to seek help, he's going to have to, reach out to a recovery group, an online group, seek a therapist, a counselor, whether it's from the church or whether it's not from the church. But I'm a believer in God. I would strongly suggest a celibate recovery. They talk about past hurts, hangups, and addictions. People who've been battling suicide, depression, anxiety, the whole 9 yards. That's what I would recommend for a lot of people. I would recommend seeing a Christian therapist, a Christian counselor, people who actually know how to talk to people, because you got to talk to somebody. And in this world, us men are just taught to just keep going, but we're not taught to talk about our feelings and emotions. And then a lot of women will always argue, why is it that men don't have any feelings? Men have feelings, but don't feel comfortable expressing them. It's as simple as that. I mean, can you sit down here and blame this man for not feeling comfortable expressing his feelings and emotions? Can you sit down here and blame him for not feeling comfortable doing that? When our society rewards what's bad instead of what's good? You don't think that's going to mess with somebody's internal battle? Yet again, this is what I believe, that so many people are just so miseducated on what people are going through. And people these days are just, they're not the nicest people in the world. It's the truth. It's the truth. So, with that being said, I don't have all the solutions or all the answers to suicide at all. I don't. And I'm not going to claim that I do. But you got to talk to somebody. You got to say something. You have to call that hotline. If you need to call the hotline, call it. Call that suicide hotline. Talk to somebody. Let people know what's going on. But don't just talk to anybody. Talk to somebody that you feel really comfortable with. And number two, and people will say I'm a big old health guy or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, the food that we have is linked. It is linked to depression, anxiety, and possible. Key word here is possible suicidal tendencies. Too much of this sugar, this salt, this MSG, and this fat is not supposed to be consumed by us. That's the reason why so many men are just so angry and just so hostile and just moody and all over the place, up and down and up and down. And also the substance abuse, the drinking, the recreational drugs. You got to cut this stuff out, man. Men, you have to cut this stuff out. It's messing with you mentally, physically, and spiritually. So my third and final tip is this. You're going to need yourself a mentor. You are definitely going to need yourself a mentor. Because this mentor will help you. Because all I know is this. With men want to succeed. Men do not want to feel at the bottom. They want to feel at the top. So when you have a really good mentor that can help you out, he will help you in due time get to the top. He will help you with your finances. He'll help you with your mental and spiritual growth and your physical improvement. And if he doesn't know that he could do it himself, he could put you around somebody that could help you out with that. And then you build a community. And then when you've built this community around you, in due time, you start to feel a lot better about yourself. And those suicidal tendencies start to fade away because you do not feel as if you're fighting this internal battle by yourself. So with that being said, man, this needs to be said. If you are feeling like you want to take your life, you have to talk to somebody. But I pray that you do not do it. You have so much to live for. There are people who love you. There are people who care about you. The lies of the enemy are something that you do not need to be listening to. Please seek the help that you need because you deserve it. You deserve help just like anybody else. And I hope that you get it. And I hope that you strive for another day. Take care. God bless.